Good day, good people. My name is Gentleman Viking, and welcome to my second video of my initial impressions from The Mandalorian. We've got episode 2, The Child. So I've got a few more notes here, so I'm a little bit more prepared. But before I begin proper on this episode, just a couple of things I didn't mention about the last episode. So, IG-88, the bounty hunter droid, they did a really good job on him. Like, I do not know any of the extended lore from Star Wars. The only thing I was really familiar with was the movies and a couple of games. So I knew IG-88 was a bounty hunter droid. I know you fight him in the Nintendo 64 game Shadows of the Empire, but that's all I know. Um, the the way they designed him was really cool. So he has this three parts to his head which keep on spinning around to different angles. There's cameras in each of them so he can detect enemies from different angles. His arms are pretty much just like ball jointed or something, but at the same time, so he can like shoot behind him, shoot anywhere, but at the same time, it's all still very rigid and robotic. So it's not fluid like the Mandalorian, who is like pulling out his gun and shooting in a very fluid motion, as if he was a trained soldier, which he probably is. Um, and yeah, being introduced to little baby Yoda at the end of that episode. Oh, he looks so adorable. I want one. Anyway, so on this episode, so it starts off with him. Ignore that again. It starts off with him wheeling out the baby Yoda in his little hover pod. I'm just gonna call it the stroller, or the pod. I'll call it the pod. He wheels him out in his pod, and he starts getting attacked by other bounty hunters, and it made me think, oh shit, what's going on here? So in the last episode, spoiler warning by the way, IG-88 said that Baby Yoda was wanted dead, whereas the Mandalorian, it was stated that it was to be taken alive, but if he did bring it in dead, he would just get a lower fee. So it makes me wonder, okay, so what's going on here? Why does Werner Herzog's character want Baby Yoda alive, and who wants Baby Yoda dead? Is it all from Werner Herzog, or what's going on here? It makes me want to find out more. It makes me want to, well, it makes me invested, and it makes me want to keep on watching. So I want to know what happens. So, um, so he's like ducking and rolling, fighting off these two bounty hunters, which look like Bosk. Yes, I do know who Bosk is, kind of. Um, And yeah, he gets in a fight. He fights him off. Baby Yoda is just sitting in his little pod, looking at him, watching him fight. And you can tell that, like, even though Baby Yoda doesn't actually say anything, he doesn't emote too much. You can get the feeling that Baby Yoda is imprinting on the Mandalorian as a parental figure or some sort of guardian or protector. Um, which I thought was pretty cool. And almost, I for a second I thought he was about to start using the Force on these bounty hunters, but yeah, the Mandalorian defeats him and disintegrates one with his rifle, which I thought was pretty cool. Like, once again, I'm not full on of in the running with Star Wars canon, but I don't think we've ever seen like a disintegrator rifle before, which I thought was pretty cool. Like, blaster shots, they normally just leave you dead or burnt. This thing like full on vaporizes you into dust, kind of like a Dalek weapon on high beam. Um, so I'm just reading my notes. So we've got Baby Yoda. He looks so freaking adorable. He even sounds cute. They got just the right baby noises to put over him. Um, he essentially looks like a shaved green Gizmo from the Gremlins movies, but with bigger eyes. But I don't care. He still looks so cute. So afterwards, after that fight, we see the Mandalorian. Um, he's removed some of his chest armor and he's trying to like seal up a cut that he got from in that fight. And Baby Yoda keeps on climbing out of the pod, going up, and he's trying to touch him. Which I thought, oh, okay, then is he gonna like try and force heal him or something? Because we've seen force heal in some of the role playing games, but never in the movies until Rise of Skywalker. Spoilers for that. Anyway, but one thing I found interesting was that when we see the Mandalorian taking off his chest armor, it's actually got gadgets inside of it, machinery, and he's trying to repair that as well. I always thought that armor like that was literally just armor. Even the stormtroopers, their armor was just armor, but it looks as if, yeah, it's an actual, like a power armor set. I thought that was a nice little touch. It was something that I learnt that I never thought about before. Like I figured that maybe the stormtroopers had like um, binoculars and shit like that in some of their built into their helmets, but even then, I didn't think that their armor was power armor. So I thought that was pretty damn cool. Um, when he gets to his ship, a bunch of Jawas have essentially just stripped it all down. And the first thing I thought was, oh, the goddamn Jawas. Um, like I don't think this planet is Tatooine. Is Tatooine, which means they're on another planet, most likely just another desert planet. So the Jawas must ah, excuse me. The Jawas must be pretty much everywhere or something, just scavenging, stealing parts. He climbs on the side of their sandcrawler and they're like throwing junk and rocks down at him. I thought that was freaking hilarious, but at the same time, it was also suspenseful. I wanted the Mandalorian to win, and then he gets to the top of the ship. He points his gun at the closest Jawa, but like 10 of them have surrounded him, all pointing their guns at him, and they all just shoot him with a shock, like a shock beam or something. He's just like across over the side of the thing. That was bloody hilarious. That was done well, and it also makes the Mandalorian like less of a I'm not gonna say less of a badass because he climbed up there pretty much by hand with his little grappling hook, but it does make him seem like less of a like going into something like this. I'm always afraid nowadays that they're just gonna make the main characters a Mary Sue and they or a Gary Stu, and they just they're good at everything, they do everything, and then they win every time, which doesn't like there's no gravitas to anything like that. You don't feel um if a character is always a badass, you'll root for them, but eventually you're just going to be like, oh, they won again. Yeah. Um, so anyway, geez, I'm already longer than my last video. Um, yeah, I thought it was a good thing that so throughout the previous scenes, Baby Yoda's pod just keeps on following the Mandalorian, but when he starts climbing up it stops, and I thought, oh shit, good thing. Good thing it's not oh no, wait, no, it doesn't stop. It keeps on following him. And I thought, oh, that's a good thing. It's a good thing it's following him. Otherwise, another bounty hunter will come in and swoop it up. Thankfully, though, that doesn't happen. One thing I also noticed, both in the first episode and this one, and I'm pretty sure it's going to keep on going, is that the scene transitions look like they were taken from Star Wars, like a big I don't know what you call it, but essentially it starts up here and then it like works its way around, or the next scene starts off as a little shot but then grows outwards to the whole screen and it's all fuzzy at the edges. To me, that screams Star Wars. Um, uh, I love how the little alien dude pretty much whenever he puts his foot down, he just pretty much says, "I have spoken." I wish I could use that in my job. I work in retail, and there are some customers I just wish I could say, "No, you're not getting that. I have spoken." um, one interesting thing he says. So he takes the Mandalorian to go trade with the Jawas for his stuff back, and the Jawas are telling him to put away his weapons, and he says he's a Mandalorian. Weapons are his religion. He can't put away his weapons. I thought, oh wow, that's kind of cool. That speaks of the Mandalorians as a warrior race, which playing the Old Republic games, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, yeah, they always came off as a big warrior race. Not bred for war, but it seemed like war was their business, and business was good. Anyway, um, yeah, when they first said, so the Jawas finally agree. Oh yeah, we'll give you back your stuff if you get the egg, and they start chanting the egg in their language. And I thought that was a little humorous, and I thought, oh, is are they going to trade it for Baby Yoda's pod? And I thought, no, it can't be that simple. Um, so yeah, they take him to the outskirts of some cave system. He goes in there and he gets attacked by like this huge, gigantic rhino, and I thought that was pretty cool. Like yeah, it's a big rhino, but at the same time, you know, he's getting tossed around by this thing. Nothing he can do is working on it. His disintegrator rifle gets damaged. His pistol gets thrown away. He shoots it in the face with his flamethrower gauntlet, and that doesn't phase it. He like climbs onto the side of it with his grappling hook, and it just throws him off. And I could see Baby Yoda, like kept on cutting back to Baby Yoda, and it almost looked like Baby Yoda was concerned, but also like curious as to what was going on, like an infant would be. And then Baby Yoda raises his arm. You just see the little shot of his tiny little arm, and then the rhinoceros gets lifted up off of the ground. It's all like, what's going on? Trying to run away, but it can't because it's in midair. Um, and we just see Baby Yoda closing his eyes closed, struggling with the Force. Um, and I thought, like at first I was thinking, wow, holy shit, this little baby is really powerful. But then when he started, the music was swelling, and you could see him starting to struggle. I'm like, no, 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 please don't get hurt, please don't, because it's an infant. You feel attached to an infant. It's a psychological response. And when he fainted, I'm like, no, not Baby Yoda, please don't be hurt. Um, like that is like 100 times more connection and worry than I had for Rey and any of the other characters in Force Awakens, because I think that the main reason is because it's a baby. You're psychologically conditioned to care about an infant, and because this creature resembles Yoda, a beloved fan character, you feel a desire to root for this character because it reminds you of someone that you know already, and that's my thoughts behind it anyway. But no matter the reason, I felt genuine concern for this character. I thought, oh no, what's going to happen to him? Is Baby Yoda going to go into a coma or something? But anyway, so the Mandalorian stabs the creature with his knife, and actually, quick side note: before he gets into the fight, before he enters the cave, him like gearing up, he checks his ammo belt for his disintegrator rifle, checks his blaster pistol, um, fiddles around with his gauntlets, checks on a knife that he's got in his boot. That's where that knife came from. I thought that was pretty badass. Anyway, so yeah, Mandalorian stabs the rhino to death in the side of the neck. Uh, Wanders into the cave, just staggers into the cave, picks up this egg that's like, it looks like it's covered in like thick strands of fur or something. But anyway, um, and the Jawas, back of the Jawa encampment, they're all pretty much just like, nah, this guy's dead, we're leaving. And the old alien man, he's like, oh no, just leave him, he'll be back. Oh fine, but I'm staying here. Um, and then yeah, he comes back, and the Jawas all like, it's the egg, we got the egg. And I thought, okay, so what are they gonna do with this? they're probably just gonna eat it, aren't they? And then the head Jawa slices into it, and they all start dipping their hands into this yellow orange goop and shoving it into their hoods. I'm like, yep, okay, they just wanted a feed. It's probably a delicacy to them. And I thought, yeah, that's fair enough. Um, I love the line of um, the Mandalorian says the old alien man, "I'm surprised you waited," and he's like, "I'm surprised you took so long." I thought that was just hilarious because once again, like he had an impression of the Mandalorians being like completely and 100% badasses, and yeah, the Mandalorian, while he proves him wrong in that regard, he still manages to survive and come back. I really hope we see that character again. He helps him rebuild his ship pretty much free of charge. He shows him the way to where Baby Yoda was free of charge in the first episode. And I thought, I kept on thinking, what is this guy's angle? What is in it for him? And he pretty much just says, because of your actions, there's now peace where I live. That's all I wanted, just a quiet place to live. And I thought, actually, you know what? That's a good idea. Yeah. And the Mandalorian offers him a job. Oh, do you want to be part of my crew? And he says, no, I work too long to be in service to others. And he's just like, I understand. And I'm like, I understand too, man. I want to retire and like not be bothered by anyone ever again. So I hope we see that character again. He was pretty cool. Um, the music in this episode was pretty awesome as well. It reminded me a lot of John Williams. I didn't check the credits to see if he's done any of the music, but whoever's doing the music for The Mandalorian, they're doing an amazing job. Um, yeah, I guess that's all I have for this little rundown. Not as exciting as the first one, because the first one I was all giddy for something new and all the fan service. This one definitely slowed down a little bit, or I won't say slowed down, I say toned down, just enough to let me sit back and enjoy it a little bit more without all of the stars in my eyes. But I still enjoyed it. I still had fun, and I'm gonna be watching the third episode right now. Um, So this episode of sorry, this video I'll try and put up in a few days, so to space them out. But yeah, these episodes are being watched one after the other, unless I say otherwise. So bear that in mind when you watch these videos. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please hit like. If you have your own thoughts, please comment below. Feel free to share the video with your friends, but make sure they've seen The Mandalorian, because I did speak a lot of spoilers today. I don't want to spoil it for your friends. Um, until then, have a great day. Ta-ra!